Can I get a burp out first?
Yep.
I think that might be alright. Might have to do 2 takes.
Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another video from the garden. Yes, we're out in the garden again. We're going into the shed where we play the games and stuff. But today we are not playing a game, we're playing with some brand new terrain. And in playing with brand new terrain, it's called the Futureproof Terrain from Snot Goblin Gaming. I think I've got the name right. I apologise if I haven't. I'm sure a voiceover in the future will correct me. Thanks, future Josh. Not only that, but I've drafted in a very special guest, at least for the next, what, 2 hours?
Yeah, 2 or 3 hours.
It's Bald Hipster. This is my younger brother.
If you can believe it.
Yes. We, if you've followed any of the live streams or you've ever kind of cottoned on to the Warhipster tale, the tales of Josh, he's the one that I used to play Warhammer with in the living room. We'd build boards, wouldn't we, on the floor?
All the time.
And we'd play Lord of the Rings.
A lot of pikes ending up in people's bare feet.
Yeah, that also would happen.
And random cat attacks.
And random cat attacks,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So we used to play massive Lord of the Rings battles on our living room floor. We used to set up the terrain together, and I think it was you, or it was me, or it was both of us. We had that wonderful idea that I've told you about before in the past, you audience at home, where we used our dimmer switch to simulate the daylight of Osgiliath.
We were so innovative.
Yeah, and we were really edgy and cool as kids. So, you haven't done much Warhammer?
Not recently, no.
Not since you were 17?
Yeah, probably about 17,
Well,
18.
married too.
And married.
But, you know, so the last time you probably did any serious one was when you were 17, 18.
About 17 or 18, yeah.
And you're now...
Older than that. 31.
He's 31. Accept it.
Fine.
Move on. Apologies for your loss. Anyway, so you haven't done much, but this stuff's really cool. It's modular. It's basically like sort of Warhammer Lego.
Yeah.
So you just press it together. We don't need any glue. So we're just going to go in there. We're going to play with it. We're going to we're just going to build whatever your heart really desires.
Dimmer switch not included.
Dimmer switch not included. So I guess we'll see you in there, in the shed, in just a minute. Here it is. It's a big old bag of terrain, isn't it?
That is a hefty bag of terrain.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, I already had a little play with it, but not much. So as you can see, I built one little kind of like half a building type thing, that there. Yeah, so yeah, and like that would go like maybe here, for example.
Just like that?
Just like that. It just goes together really quickly. So, yeah, there's loads of bags of stuff here, so we're just going to get all of this out. Count how many pieces we've got. I'll take this apart. We'll be right back. Okay, so here are all of the pieces. Many pieces. We haven't counted them. There's too many pieces to count. I'll do a count at some point, I'm sure. Or maybe I won't. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. So what we have is a bunch of different stuff. So we've got like these little kind of end pieces that I presume go on the end of little floors and stuff. Like this one just here, like that, for example. Just so you get the idea. We have these corner pieces like that for the big walls that go on there, or on a corner like this one, for example. You just slot it in like that. Job's a good one. We have these kind of single walls like that. We've got some double walls. If you could show me, glamorous assistant. Some with windows and some without. I believe that they are setting agnostic. If you turn it over the other side, you should have some wooden walls and things like that.
We've got windows, we've got wooden shutters.
Yeah, it's not really setting agnostic, but you know, it is what it is. They look good. We have some little ruined kind of tiny little wall sections. We have some small ruined kind of joiner sections that go between each wall. We have ruined corners like this. We have bits to make small tiny little ruins. So like this little bit here. And then we have like kind of these bits as well. So you can combine all kinds of things together. We have some of these kind of double ruined sections. We have 3 of those. And we have some larger ruined walls like that as well. There's a whole bunch of connectors over here. So these go in between each bits of your wall to just kind of join everything up and keep everything secure. And of course, as we've already mentioned, we have a bunch of corner pieces just here for building out our buildings. So Ben and I, we're going to build a couple of buildings each, I think.
I think so.
We're just gonna go for it, just have fun.
Preston Garvey's going to come and tell us that a settlement needs our help.
That's exactly right.
And we're going to snap fit these together.
That's exactly what we're going to do. A Fallout reference already. Good God. All right, we'll just pop a time lapse on and see who can finish first. So, of the set of components that we've built, in the last sort of 50-ish minutes or so, 48 minutes.
48 to be precise.
Yes, 48 minutes. We have managed to build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full ruins. And, well, here's our spares. I'm sure if we broke some of these buildings down a little bit, then we would probably get a few more buildings out of it. But honestly, like, these really large ruins look great. I don't know what about you, Ben.
Yeah, and they were super easy to put together as well and get a lot of height out of them as well. A lot of different dynamics on the levels as well.
Yeah, so you built this one.
I built this one.
And this one.
Yeah. The one thing is the tendency to, rein yourself in a bit because, I started to add a floor, which then led to another floor, which then led to another floor. So it's really kind of showing a little bit of restraint. But I think that's a decent enough height to get 4 levels out of it. But this could easily be broken down. You could easily take this apart and just have a smaller piece of scenery, and do that on every level or stack them.
Yeah, and you could do that on pretty much all of these buildings, to be fair. Like, you could take this entire floor off and have another one. And that's the beauty of it, right? Is that it's because it's modular. You would be able to just take it apart. Like, it is as simple as just doing that, which is pretty cool.
And you've got the low cut walls as well, so you could easily set up something similar to this where you could just create rows of these, so you've got a sort of more entrenched setup going on as well.
Yeah. So it's often, I think it's talked about as being able to kind of do the GW terrain maps. So for like the tournament packs and stuff like that, that's where it kind of really sits. So you can follow one of those kind of guides in terms of the size of the buildings, this, that, and the other. We're sort of, we've not gone for that. We've just kind of built what we felt was cool. And like, if I think I had another set, we'd have a really dense board of terrain.
Yeah. Because
I think I'd build, I suspect you would as well, because we built all the big ones.
Yeah.
We'd probably just build lots of small ones.
Definitely.
After this point. Maybe one more, like sort of like this, like mega structure.
Yeah.
And then just the rest be kind of smaller buildings to make it nice and dense and packed. You've never been a tournament gamer.
Sadly not. No. Never good enough.
And, I'm not really a tournament gamer. So one of the things I think was really interesting for us was just whether or not we could build something that we like the look out of.
Yeah.
And, well, we're going to flip the camera around and talk about that in just a sec.
So in terms of like putting it together, as I said, like I've, from a tournament perspective, you could build a tournament set out of this, which, is great. Tournament sets are basically just large L's. Mm-hmm. So it pretty much, because you don't know this, it pretty much like, it's just designed to just block line of sight.
Yeah.
And even usually, like, you were joking about, because when we were growing up playing, you were like, you would never want to have open windows on the bottom floor, because where are your men going to hide? And I was like, well, actually, that doesn't matter so much these days, because usually most tournaments just say that any windows and doors on the bottom floor count as being shut.
Right, okay.
So it doesn't really matter. So you can build that kind of thematic. Some places will say, oh no, everything is true line of sight, this and the other. But a lot of the times, a lot of the tournaments I've played in at least, if there's windows and doors and gaps on the bottom floor, they count as all being closed. It's only the ones on the next floor up that count as being open.
Does that include things like these low hanging walls here?
Yes.
That they would also count for cover?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, perfect.
So one thing, another good thing about it for kind of terrain purposes for tournaments is you do have that kind of you have the kind of area of it. So it's very clearly like if you turn it like this, you can see that's the area within which you would be protected by the terrain. So even if you're standing here, because again, we were playing, you had to be like everything was fully true line of sight. And you know
it had to be fully obscured to count and everything like that as well.
Exactly. So this generally in sort of more modern sort of 40k, if you're there, you count as being in the terrain. And so you would get.
But you've got with this, you've got your perimeter, so you can see where you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
The slightly dodgy rules interaction in some tournaments, at least my experience, is that even if you're standing here, and your opponent is back here, you're still in the cover. Even though it doesn't make sense.
No, that's up for interpretation.
Because you're in the area.
Yeah.
So that's one really great positive thing about it. Now, when it comes to kind of the narrative of it, there are some bits that don't quite line up. So some of the kind of like the kind of these we've managed to. I think the reason why we've kind of got pieces left over like this one and this all these kind of bits is because we've tried to have it so that all the same things are facing outwards. And occasionally they don't work that way, so we had to change how we were doing the build. But you said, what were the pieces that you thought should be in here?
So one of the things I'd like to see is you get, and they're on here somewhere. So you see this piece here, where you've got your two windows. That's one solid piece. I'd like to see those as individuals as well, so that if you're trying to build up, you know, these kind of sections of wall where you've got chunks missing but want a window, you know, that's not possible unless you're building out, you know, even further.
So like that, but with an open window.
Exactly. Yeah. Just so that you can go for some slightly slimmer looking builds as well. With that as well. The other thing as well was kind of looking at some more capable options to replicate. I'm blocking myself again. I don't want to be seen. Some more capable options for roofs. Now, from the angle that the camera's at, that looks like a fairly complete roof. But if you're looking at the top, it's another connecting piece. Now, there are these smaller sections of wall here that can be used to cap the top. There are corner versions of it as well. But really, you're going to be wanting to use those to build the L-shaped ruin rather than finishing the top. So it just would be nice to have a few more of these within the pack in order to make sure you can give it a good finish. Because some people are going to want to build these and leave them for a longer period of time as well. So if you're going for that kind of that level of perfectionism, it just would be nice to finish the top off as well.
Well, so because my plan is to paint them. I'm probably not going to.
That's my first time on camera.
You're doing very well, apart from the blocking. Hello, everybody.
So anyway,
hello everybody. It's the Warhipster here. I'm very shy all of a sudden. No, it's so because I plan to paint it. I think for me, this is pretty much the final configuration. Some things I would kind of like the easy things to pull apart. I would pull apart. But like, because it's really good contacts, and that's one thing I think I would praise it is that it. There is effort required.
It's in, definitely.
Yeah, effort required to get it out. It's not like you don't have to like wrestle with it like you're trying to fight an alligator. But like, it does. It holds, and I'm putting motion like that for it to fall, and it's it's not doing it. So once it's in, it pretty much stays in, which is nice. So with that in mind, like, I don't think I really want to kind of edit the layout too much. And I probably won't, to be honest, unless, I move house, in which case I will kind of like pull them down into like their halves.
It'd be easy to put it into a single floor or a double floor, wouldn't it? Just to make it easier to move around, especially if you're taking it to tournament as well.
But I'm not likely to kind of break this down into its component pieces to this size.
Yeah.
Because I think what you'd have to do is prime everything individually.
Yeah.
And then paint everything individually.
Yeah.
And then varnish everything individually to protect your paint job.
Yeah.
Because of the complement of the really good contact point between these things, having just pushed them together, you're gonna have to put that force in to get it, and you'll just rub the paint.
Just shred the corners.
So you'll have to varnish it all.
Yeah.
And if you don't varnish each piece individually, you'll miss bits.
Yeah.
So you could still run the risk of doing that. That's my theory with things like this. Is generally that's what you would have to do. So, are you going to pull it apart down to this size again? Probably not, from my perspective. The only time I would probably pull it apart is to get it down to this size, so I could sling it in a box to transport it to a game somewhere else, or if we move house.
I'm keen to hear your opinion actually on, because we've talked about using this for competitive 40k, but actually one of the finer details they put on this is some of the pieces, I don't know if you can see in the back here, where they actually simulate kind of like wooden shutters, whereas on the other side you've got more of a sword insignia there. So actually whether this could be used as a Sigmar or an old world even construction rather than just for 40k.
I think with the wooden things on the outside, it could be Age of Sigmar. The problem with that is you don't just look at terrain from the outside.
Yeah.
You often, if you're standing on one end of the board, you're looking at it from this direction.
Yeah.
I think it's nice touch, but I would prefer for there to be either a Sigma or a 40k option.
Because you could do it. You could replace the struts with wooden beams and things like that to give it that Watland or Tudor look as well. They've done a nice job actually of putting the details on the walls with, you know, you've got this kind of plastered finish with brick underneath. That's transferable, I think, as well, depending on how you paint it.
Yeah.
But you've got all these things like these skulls, and you've got you've got things that could be, you know, pipe vents and things like that, just to make it more 40k. But then you can easily reduce that down to make it fit more to the old world as well.
I think old world less so.
Yeah.
I think whilst it is supposed to be kind of, you could use it as 40k or AOS, it reads as 40k terrain.
Yeah, completely.
Regardless of whether you've got that. I hadn't even noticed that you'd put the wooden shutters facing out there.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, it reads as 40k.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is fine.
Yeah,
that's kind of its intention.
Yeah.
In Age of Sigmar, you don't really need large ruindels. It's almost like a little bit weird to see it in Age of Sigmar.
Okay, yeah.
Because normally you'd have like area terrain.
Yeah.
And like trees.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff you generally tend to play with in Sigmar. There are some ruindels, but not anywhere near as many as there are in 40k.
Yeah.
40k is all ruindels because it's the best line of sight blocking terrain.
Exactly.
Because it creates the least amount of arguments.
But thoughts on turning this into Osgiliath?
There's no need.
No?
No. Because the Osgiliath terrain is really great for Osgiliath.
Exactly.
This is really good for... I mean, we've built something I think could conceivably be used for, like, Kill Team.
Yeah.
In a small space. Absolutely Kill Team in a small space.
Yeah.
40k, we'd need a couple of extra bits.
Yeah, definitely.
To, like I said, to break this down maybe into
just to keep it even across the board as well.
Just to keep it even across the board. I think, interesting, one point I'd like to make is that in terms of components of what's here, there's one thing that bothers me a little bit about this. And it's, you can see it just there. There is a cap for when you have these connectors. So you see these two pins like that. You get these things which you can use to stick on like that, and that's perfect for that side. For the other side, there isn't one that slots in there. So you just kind of have to live with these blank squares.
Yeah.
Which, it's a small thing. I don't think
exactly.
it's the end of the world, but it is one piece that is missing, at least from my set. There might be more that they've made, and there's just pieces that I don't have.
Yeah.
But I don't know too much. But overall, what would you give it a rating out of?
Probably give it, I'd say, just in terms of its transportability, its how diverse it is as well, how easy it was to get on, especially for myself who, you know, has no experience building terrain or putting battle boards together really. I mean, I'd give it probably about an 8.
An 8?
Yeah, there's a few little details I think that need to be worked out.
Well, that doesn't go in there.
Again, I'm not entirely sure if it was just the pieces that we were given, but there were certainly, I'd like a few more finishing touches, like these sort of smaller broken walls, some of the corner pieces as well, we could have done with a few more of, I think. But that, as I say, we're really going into details there as well. So yeah, I'd say.
That's just because of our configuration.
And that's just how we've done it, yeah, exactly.
I'm sure more planning-oriented minds
Absolutely.
could have built something that actually it all kind of, we used every piece, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bits left over.
I just think
things like these spars that go in between the walls.
It was very easy to work out as well. There's a lot of different pieces here, but it was very easy within about 5 minutes to get in the swing of it and figure out where everything goes and can go as well.
Yeah. It just went together, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. All right. Well, you've got to go home.
I do. I've got to get a train.
And I've got to paint this stuff this week. So thank you very much. You enjoyed that, right?
I had really good fun. I'd love to play Kill Team on it, actually. That would be good fun.
Well, the people of YouTube can demand your presence.
Absolutely.
Do something that will make them want you back.
Is my sheer presence not enough?
Well, I don't know. They have to. They'll tell you. What I suspect will probably happen is they'll say you're the better version of me.
Probably, yeah.
And I'll get bullied relentlessly off the internet.
We could maybe film a video of you teaching me to paint by numbers, and the sheer horror of what follows might be interesting.
Well, this is a hobby channel, then. We don't do paint by numbers.
You know what I mean. I would need it by numbers.
Yeah. No, okay. Well, if you enjoyed that.
I did, yeah.
And we'll get you back to do some more stuff.
Looking forward to it.
If the people of YouTube want it. If they hate you, then sorry, mate, you're not coming back.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want to wave goodbye?
I'll wave goodbye. Goodbye, YouTube. Thanks for watching.
And then you'll just be stuck with me again. So we are going to, after this, we are going to prime the stuff and then we're going to paint it. So I'll see you in a minute. He will not. Okay, so for terrain that goes together as simply and quickly as that, it needs a paint job that is as simple and quick to match. So here we have one of the pieces of ruins, and we're going to be painting up in this part of the video. This is done across all of the same, it's all of the buildings in the same way. That's the actual sentence. Now, as you can see, it's been primed in 2 different colours. So the colours that I've firstly done is I've primed the whole thing using the matte black spray from Colourforge. There it is. It's pretty good. Any black spray will do. So, then, what we've done, as you can see just here, if we give you that angle for the kind of corner of here, you can see at the top of the building just there, and around here on the facing, just like that. That's probably the best angle. We've then given it a very partial spray in places. So 1, 2, a little bit more here. With another one from Colourforge. This is Trench Brown. Now this colour is basically Steel Legion Drab. At least that's what they say it's been colour matched to. And any brown will do as long as it's kind of like a mid brown like this. But that's the one we've gone for. I really like Steel Legion Drab as a colour. As you can see on the base rim of this here Seraphon, it's pretty much the same thing. So it's always going to look a little bit different when it's just in the primed format. And all we're going to do after we've primed all of our buildings like this, so black all over and then little sparse finishes, so we're going to do a couple of different steps. I'm going to do mostly dry brushing. So the colour we're going to be using first is Karak Stone. So I'm going to give that a good shake. And we're going to be using a medium dry. You could use a large dry, but this is the biggest size I've got. We need our tissue paper. Just here. Like that. I'm going to grab some of that Karak Stone on our brush. And I'm going to work it into the bristles
just like that. Then I'm going to pick a place to start, and I find the easiest place to start is one side and then move all the way around, doing it a section at a time. So I'll do the whole of this wall. So we're going to dry brush this Karak Stone over the top of the entire thing, starting from the bottom. Just like this. Probably at the point now where we need a little bit more Karak Stone. Just going to grab some of that. Get that on our kitchen roll. And then start again. Alright, you can see it's already instantly transformed. That half, well, that section of this half of the building. When it comes to like the sort of flat panels, it doesn't matter if you do end up being a little bit heavy here and there, but the simplest trick here is to kind of do it in a more of a circular motion. Like that, just to kind of avoid anything looking too scratchy. But of course, these are bombed out buildings, it doesn't matter. You know, it does look in fact a little bit scratchy. As you can see, I mean, just look at the difference between that panel and that panel. Karak Stone. It's a wonderful dry brush. With that Karak Stone dry brush all applied, all the way around. I love this, it looks like the building's smiling. So, with all that Karak Stone dry brush all over, what we're then going to do is do a second dry brush. I'm going to take some Screaming Skull now, and we're not going to be quite as heavy here. We're just going to get that on our brush, and then, essentially, what we want to do is we want to carefully go up and down like that. Grab a little bit more Screaming Skull now. And tackle the next section. So with that Screaming Skull dry brush applied, you could conceivably call this a Warhipster battle ready. I mean, you could absolutely just leave it there. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. However, just to add a little bit of extra colour in here, and just for fun, what you can do is you can take some Gore-Grunta Fur. You can apply this over the top of any of the kind of exposed brickwork. Like that. So with that Gore-Grunta Fur all applied, we're now going to finish it off. Yep, that's right. What we're going to do is we're going to take some black Templar, and in the kind of darkest points around the brickwork, we're just going to add some of the black Templar. So kind of these like flat bits. Like that. Even pick out some of the little holes and marks and things. Like that one there, for example. Or indeed this one here. A little heavy. Just use your finger to just wipe it off. There you have it, a finished building. Really not that long, very simple, and it looks incredible. So I guess the only thing left to do is to take all of them outside once again, back to the shed, and see if we can't make a fab looking board out of all of it. So now I guess it's time to make a board. Let's see what we can do. So we're probably going to combine things because I've only got a half table set. So I think this is a good test for it as well, to see if it fits with other terrain. Because sometimes you can get some other terrain that doesn't really fit with anything else. So let's see what happens, shall we? All right, here it is then. Our board. I think it looks pretty awesome. Now it does mesh quite well with the GW plastics. As you can see, there's the buildings over there and the big boy just there. I really love this piece. It's one of my favorites. And it meshes quite well. They have been done in slightly different paint schemes, but from this sort of distance, it looks pretty good. Now, what I think we're missing here is just a couple more of this size of building, or alternatively, to not have any of those GW buildings and just to have another half set of this stuff, which would absolutely just, I think, fill the table. Even if we just had sort of 2 more of those in that corner, another one of those here, and then one each of these here and here instead of the rocks. We could have some more rocks and stuff. I think based on my eyes, there's a little bit of an extra gap here than there is over here, so just could do with shunting that just to the right a little bit. But otherwise, we've got a pretty full table of terrain. This is pretty much a 9th edition layout right here. 40k, pretty much. And so, you know, I would be more than comfortable playing on this type of table. Is it the right amount of terrain for 10th edition? I think there's a little bit more in 10th these days. I think they've got a few more L-shaped buildings, of course, and of course no rocks. Can't have any rocks. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this. I would absolutely love to play this. So yeah, come on down. Who wants to come and contend on this tabletop? You know, I've got to keep her a secret who likes it. You know, they're pretty into it. How about Lord of Change? You into it? Yeah, Lord of Change likes it. So overall, the terrain is spot on. I think it's really nice stuff. It's really durable. It's really strong. It's got a satisfying kind of thickness to it in these floors and things. And like the walls as well, they feel nice and sturdy. They actually feel a little sturdier than perhaps this, for example. Like if we take this piece and put it there in the top-down view, you can see there's not a world of difference there. And normally with MDF, for example, it's very, very, very flat. Of course it is, because it's MDF. But with the plastic, you can get that little bit more of extra bulk, which is really nice. But like I said, these feel nice and sturdy. They don't come apart at all. I mean, I've had one bit ping off because I dropped it, but other than that, that was it. And they just look really, really effective, especially in this kind of simple scheme. Maybe the battle mat is another thing that might put you off. It's a kind of desert theme with these dark, dusty buildings. Perhaps we would want a more sort of city fight-esque battle mat, but I don't have any of those, so I'd have to buy one, and well, time is money and all that kind of thing. Unless anybody wants to send me some battle mats to check out, in which case, please do. That would be fun. But otherwise, it's a good looking table. It's good looking terrain. It's easy to put together, easy to paint. It does the job. I mean, line of sight, as you can see, nice and blocked off, apart from that big window right there. But even from this kind of model's eye view, I think it looks pretty wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. So overall, I would say the Futureproof Terrain is fantastic. What would I give it out of 10 on the Land Raider scale? I'd give it a 7.5, I think. I'd like a little bit more variation, less L's, but I understand why it's L's. I'd also, as mentioned previously, love something that can cap off this gap here. So just like a reverse of these little pieces, these ones here. So it would just be nice because, you know, that piece caps off when it's got the kind of the connectors on it, but we don't have a reverse piece which has the connectors on it to just slide in there. That would be really, really, really nice. I think that would be fantastic. But Otherwise, it's a really fantastic set of terrain. Rugged, durable, easy to put together, easy to paint. You can get it all done in a weekend. So ultimately, a massive thank you to Snot Goblin Gaming for sending me this, the Futureproof Modular Terrain. There's a link in the description to follow if you want to contribute to their Kickstarter to get a set of this. I'd recommend it. I think it's absolutely fantastic stuff. Really quick to put together, as mentioned, really quick to paint, and it looks really effective with the rest of the terrain that I've got here on the table, which is just great. I love it. Really lovely stuff. So yeah, thank you very much to Snot Goblin once again for sending me this. Really enjoyed it, and well, I guess all that's left to do is to send you to the link and to say goodbye. This is a really fun video to make. Let me know if you like these types of videos, because we make more of them. And if you've got anything else you want to send to me, guys, just send to me and I'll have a look. It's great.
If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/Warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.